My papers here. David is, and Warren.
I think Peter's on his way.
Peter's on his way, hopefully.
Kia ora to you both. We've got the consideration of a private plan change for Warkworth South. I think there's a bit of a presentation and then you'll go through the details and then I'm sure there'll be a lot of questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First thing I will do is introduce David Wren to the committee. David has been working on the plan change as a plan change request as a consultant for a while. He's been involved in the report that you have before you, and we've got a bit of a presentation, and shortly Peter Vary will join us as well. So, if you want to, do you want to start the presentation?
Yeah, I might as well. There's no point waiting around. Kia ora, good afternoon, everybody. This relates to a private plan change request in Warkworth, and you can see the land there. It's located to the south of the existing urban area. It's the area approximately in that red outlined area. Right, that's going to work, which is this red area here. As you can see there, it's 159 hectares, and it would accommodate, through the plan change, approximately 1,600 new household units and a 3.4 hectare business land local centre. The majority of that land is zoned future urban zone, that's shown in yellow up there. There's a small area of open space conservation in that area, and it also includes about 4.5 hectares of rural production land. We'll come to that in a minute.
Kia ora, Peter. Sorry, we went through a bit faster than you might have thought. Yeah.
Do you want to continue doing this?
Start from slide 2?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, just your microphone. Sorry, Peter. Thank you.
Talk. So you've seen the slide that outlines the 159 hectares of land, future urban zone, that's to be rezoned in this private plan change application. What you've got on screen in front of you is an aerial photo showing, sorry, I've run up the stairs, the sort of physical characteristics there. So you can see the land in relation to the remainder of the urban area of Warkworth. And you'll see there's a slight separation there, but one of the important points is, of course, that it bisects the state highway, and that's been an important point because the access to this land is entirely on the old state highway, and we've got the new motorway that you can see there to the north of the picture. You'll see the new motorway. So, sorry. Yes, so that's an important point because one of the things that has been important is we've had to assess basically under clause 25 if there are any reasons or rationale for rejecting the private plan change. There are very limited grounds for doing that, but one of the grounds was infrastructure, and so we've assessed this application against the grounds in clause 25. We've concluded that there are no grounds in relation to that, and so the actual recommendation here is to accept the request for processing as a plan change, so it will be notified and be subject to a submission and hearing process. So just as I say, I don't know what David has said to date, but 159 hectares, 1,600 household units proposed in a variety of zonings proposed through that. So if we move to the next slide, you'll see what they're proposed in terms of zoning. The pink purple colour is the town centre. The darker orange is terrace house and apartment building zone, more intensive development around that. And the brown is mixed housing urban, spreading out to less dense zones as we get to the various north and south of the plan change area. One thing with the plan changes, they're requesting a change to the extent of the rural-urban boundary. You can see the current rural-urban boundary in the red dash line, and what they're proposing is to change it to the blue line, which you can see at the bottom of the diagram. So there's a 6.4 hectare shift in the rub, and I apologise, but in the report it refers to 6,400 square metres. It's actually 64,000 square metres, which is 6.4 hectares. So that's the shift in the rub. That is part of the plan change request. So we've assessed the plan change against the Warkworth structure plan, which was done a few years ago, and the application really tries to match what the council's planning document, the structure plan, shows for the area. So you can see that, for example, it's in general accordance with the structure plan, and so we've got landscape areas that are shown on the right-hand side of the picture there. That's the structure plan, and the left-hand side is what they're proposing. And generally, in the wider context, those things, they basically match that. And in terms of timing, this area of Warkworth was proposed to be development ready from 2028, and when we've assessed how long the plan change process might take, how long it takes to develop land with bulk earthworks and so on, we think that they're not going to be too far shy of that date. They'll be a little bit early, but basically in line with that timing. And this is just to show what they're proposing, which is two precincts. The blue hatched area is the Morrison's Orchard, a historic heritage orchard, and basically they're asking that have a precinct over it, protecting it, allowing some development, but it remain with a rural zone, and the remainder takes on the other zones, the variety of residential zones that are there. And just one other important point, I suppose, is that in terms of key infrastructure, we've talked to Watercare, we've talked to who have a proposal, who have a wastewater upgrade proposal halfway through. So the Snells Beach treatment plant has been upgraded, and they're in the process of building a pipeline which will be ready in 2025 to redirect the wastewater from Warkworth to Snells Beach, that Snells Beach plant. And so there are rules in this plan change that prevent any development happening until that piece of infrastructure is in place. And likewise, in terms of transport, one issue that we see here is that the Supporting Growth Alliance have proposed a number of new roads around Warkworth, and so they've put in notices of requirement to designate that land. What they've done here is they're recognising that this plan change will provide one of the arterial routes themselves, so they have not designated what you see in yellow. The outline is red is where on the right-hand side of the picture is the State Highway 1. The applicants here are required to upgrade that intersection onto the old State Highway with the box around it. They will build the road with the yellow dash line around it, and that will link into what SGA the Supporting Growth Alliance have designated in the red. So they're confident that this applicant, or they're requiring this applicant to build that road rather than going through the normal designation process for that stretch. And so, as I say, the key thing is that there are a whole lot of triggers that require that infrastructure, the wastewater, the water supply, and stormwater and so on, to be in place before any development can occur. So we've looked at that, where the conclusion is there are no real sound reasons to the limited range of reasons set out in clause 25 to reject this application. So then we need to decide whether we accept it or adopt it as a council plan change. We don't think there's any reason to adopt it as a council plan change. Therefore, we're saying it should be accepted and go through the normal plan change process with the notifications, submissions, and so on. So that's the recommendation before you. And just the final slide, I think, is just showing the master plan where we show the variety of densities, the town centre, the green space, the Morrison Orchard kept as a heritage orchard, as a feature for the town, which is recognised in our own planning in the structure plan, and the lower densities to preserve the landscape at both ends of the development area. So, thank you. David and I are available for any questions.
Kia ora, thank you very much. Very well explained the changes there. Are there any questions on this? Member Ashby.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you. It's just a quick one from me. I note Ngāti Manahiri was involved and provided a CIA. So it's probably just a question for you as officers. In terms of the RPS provision B652 subclause 7, which is around structure planning, plan change processes, reflecting mana whenua values and identifying sites, places and areas that might be appropriate for scheduling. Is this master plan, how does it perform against that quite directive?
As far as we're aware, there's been no places that have been identified for scheduling by the iwi. In respect of the consultation that the applicant has done, they've contacted and been in consultation with all the relevant iwi groups, and they've all referred back to Ngāti Manahuri. So, and they haven't identified any, as far as we're aware, any places for scheduling. They've asked to be involved ongoing, and that will continue through the plan change process, and they'll be able to make a submission if they identify any places that they want to schedule.
Sorry, just a quick supplementary, that the other part of that is just reflecting the values, and I know the CIA talks to the importance of the waterways, which look like they're being thought about. So it's, I know that this isn't a forum for assessing the relevance of it, this is just accepting it into the process. But I'm just trying to make sure that that provision's been...
It's been included, yes, yeah.
Kia ora, Member Ashby. Are there any other questions? Seems very odd, but that's okay. Should I be worried? We're just... sorry. We're just, Councillor, I'll just make sure that Councillor Sayers and Councillor Baker are happy with, I've just got an additional note around that staff will prepare a council submission on this private plan change, particularly on infrastructure requirements and funding. It is just, it won't be a, it's just won't be a political one, it will be more technical, just around the triggers and subdivisions, things like that. So.
That's fine by me, Richard. That's Councillor Sayers.
Cool. Councillor Sayers and Councillor Baker. Right, would you like to say anything on this one, Councillor Sayers?
No, I think the officers, covered it very well. It's only slightly out of sync with it going live anyway, Mr. Chair. The infrastructure, or large chunks of the infrastructure costs, are being covered by the developer, and there's no real legal grounds not to recommend it. So it's fairly straightforward from my point of view. Thank you.
Very clear points, Councillor. Thank you. Anyone else? Right. All those in favour? Any opposed? No. Thank you very much. Awesome. Right, straight to item 13, which is a similar but quite different process, making operative plan change 84 Omaha South. Kia ora, Austin.
Kia ora. So I'm here today to complete the final steps in the plan change process for PT 84 at Omaha South. For those that know, Omaha South is a small coastal community in Rodney, approximately 12 kilometres northeast of Warkworth. PT 84 is a private plan change from the Omaha Beach Residents Society, seeking change to yard definitions within Unit Plan's existing Omaha South precinct, along with additional text to ensure the precinct standards replace standards in the wider unitary plan. This current step we're here today to decide on is a procedural one, being the final stage in the plan change process. This private plan change has gone through the standard process to date, including being accepted by council, then notified for submissions in September last year. A public hearing on the plan change was then held in April this year. Following that public hearing, the independent hearing commissioners issued their decision to approve the plan change in May. No appeals to that decision have been received, with the appeal period closing in July. So I am now before you seeking that the plan change be formally approved and to allow staff to publicly notify the decision and make the plan change operative. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions? Cool. Sorry, Deputy Chair, it was Councillor Sayers, I think, wanted to move, and Deputy Mayor wanted a second. No questions. I think it's pretty straightforward. Also making it operative. Thank you very much. Is there any debate on this one? All those in favour? Aye. Aye, perfect. Thank you. We'll go straight to item 14. We've got